So, my name is Audrey Weston, and today I am interviewing Joseph Mulherin, also called Joe. Did I
Yes.
say it right? Mulherin?
Yes.
Okay. And we are in Hatfield, Massachusetts at the American Legion. It is Monday, July 8th, 2019 at 3:22 p.m. The purpose of this interview is part of the Hatfield Vietnam Veterans Oral History Grant. So, hi, Joe. Thanks for coming and talking with me today.
Yes. I thank you. What I want to say is, most Marines in Vietnam, my nickname was Muldoon. Nobody really knew me as Joseph Mulherin.
Muldoon, how did you get that nickname?
The officers. Remember, I fed all the officers, the pilots.
Okay.
I ran the officers' mess, I ran the BOQ, and I ran the Da Nang Hilton, which was transfers of officers coming in and out.
And what's the BOQ?
That's the officers, Bachelor Officers' Quarters.
Oh, all right. So let's back up a little bit, though.
Go ahead.
Where did you grow up, Joe?
Where did I grow up?
Yeah.
I was born in 1943 in Boston at the Boston hospital there. Mm-hmm. And we lived in Roxbury,
Yep.
which was Mission Hill. And when I was born, I think my mother, at 3 hours later, wrapped me up in a bundle, called a cab, and took me home. Then is when you stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks. It was 1943. It was hot. Mm-hmm. There was no air conditioning, and she didn't want to stay there, so she just snuck me out of the hospital.
Now, do you have siblings also, or
I have,
you do?
yes.
Were you the youngest, oldest?
I'm the in the middle. There's 5 girls and there's 2 boys.
Okay.
Me and my brother.
So she just wanted to bring you home and be
She couldn't
amidst
she
family.
couldn't take the hospital. This is 1943, the middle
Yeah.
of the war, and
Okay.
there wasn't a lot of stuff going on, and my father wasn't home.
Oh, okay.
No, he was I think he was in Panama at the time.
So was he in the military
He
then?
was in the Navy.
Oh, interesting. So, did you enlist then, or what? How did you come?
I enlisted.
You did enlist, and how old were you when you enlisted?
When I signed, they didn't know, 16.
How did you make that happen?
It happened.
No one asked you any questions.
No.
There were no identification checks.
In the Marine Corps, at the time I joined in 1960, if you could walk, you were in.
Wow. And what did your family and your mother and father think about that?
Well, my father had nothing. My mother is the one. She signed the papers. So
So you left school?
I left school, everything, boom.
Wow, at 16,
At
and you
16.
enlisted.
And I went in, and after I got in, I was 17. I turned 17.
Wow. And why did you choose to do that?
Why did I choose to do that?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get out of town.
And you thought there would be bigger and better things somewhere else?
Right. I knew a recruiter,
Yep.
and we used to have beers at this person's house. He was a friend of them, and that's how I met him.
Yeah.
And he said, get around to it. And I knew some people that were in the Marine Corps. And that's why, I says, all right, why don't we do this? And he says, all right, I don't want to know nothing. I says, all right. He says, I'm going to give you an address in South Boston. I'd never been in South Boston in my life, but it says on my papers going in, I'm from South Boston.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Because
so,
he had people that could verify that, yeah, that's him.
wow. And so for the Marines, though.
For the Marines.
So when you were 17, where did you travel to, or where'd you go for base camp or training?
Parris Island in South Carolina.
Okay. And what was that like?
What was boot camp like?
Yeah.
Ask another Marine. No, it's like a head case. In other words, they demoralize you all the time to see if you can come out of it.
So as a 17-year-old, it sounds like you had a lot of ideas.
I had a feeling there was two other people that were younger than me in my platoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't 100%, but I knew two of them. They were
No
young.
one was giving their ages, huh?
No.
And how long were you there?
Boot camp was 3 months.
And
I had some dental work done there, so I didn't go with the platoon to Camp Geiger in North Carolina. That's advanced training. That's different.
okay.
See, once you graduate from boot camp at Parris Island, you're a Marine now.
Wow.
You can walk around, you can do anything now. But I didn't go with them. I went into what they call a Casualty Company
And what's
for
that?
1 month.
Okay.
Well, they had to put me somewhere. I wasn't going into the barracks though. The Casualty Company was in the main part of the base.
Okay.
And there was maybe 100, 200 guys there. They're there for different reasons.
Okay.
But they call it Casualty Company. You stay there until you're cleared, and then they'll ship you up to Camp Geiger.
And were you there for to do the dental
The
work
dental,
then?
yeah, they had
Okay.
some dental work done on me.
Okay.
And then I says, well, the guys are all going to be out, the ones. So when I get up there, I gets up there. They haven't even started my platoon. I went into a company that already started. I'm going to graduate a month before they do.
Wow.
So, and take liberty and go home.
Wow. So they were, even though they were there, they hadn't started their training yet.
That's what happens. They were on mess hall duty, which is 1 month.
Okay.
You're not training in mess hall. You're washing dishes and stuff. So
Now, why would it be like that? Is it because they have too many people to process through?
right, you got to have somebody gets it. Some certain platoons get nailed for that stuff, and if you're lucky, you like me, you come in and you're already in a company that just started.
So you could go through the program.
Boom, right through.
And what was that program like?
That was pretty good. They showed you do a lot of shooting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're shooting machine guns, rocket launches. They don't even have those no more. But the stuff. The stuff. I shot an M1.
Really?
Yeah, that's ancient. That's World War II and
Yeah.
the Korean War.
Is that because that's what you had to train
That's
on?
what they had to train in. A lot of stuff we had to train in.
Yeah. And so are you mostly getting combat training then when you're
That's
at?
in other words, combat. You
Yeah.
shoot this way. You lay in the ditch. At nighttime, you come out in the field, and they'll illuminate. They'll light up the whole place, and you gotta get on the ground so nobody sees you and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and you hide. And then they'll give you targets. There'll be a light come up, and then you start shooting at that.
Wow. And while you were there, were you getting letters from home or did you have any contact with home?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the whole time. Yeah. You
Yeah.
were never restricted from
Yeah.
that. No.
Yeah. And you were there for how long?
That was only 30, 31, 35 days, say.
Okay, so you've been
That's advanced training.
three months at base camp, right?
Yeah, but I was down there almost 6 months. But I was in Casualty Company. I graduated from boot camp,
Yep.
so I could walk around.
Okay.
I didn't have to. If you're in boot camp, you can't just walk around. You got to be told what you're doing. If you want to go over there, you ask
You have
permission.
to ask. So you had already graduated, so you
I
had
graduated.
some freedoms.
I had freedom, yes.
Okay.
And it was not bad. I could go off base.
Okay. And then when you got transferred to the next location, which was advanced training,
Right.
you were there for only a month, you said.
About
a little
month.
over a month.
Yeah, about a month. Yeah.
And then
little.
what happened?
I graduated from there, and let me think where I had. Oh, I went to Moffett Point,
Where's that?
right up the street. In other words, all right. Here's South Carolina. Here's North Carolina. You got the North Carolina.
Yep.
All right. Camp Geiger is right here. Now you go further north, and then you got Moffett Point.
Okay.
That's Marine schools. All kinds of people, different types of school. I went for school there. It was for restaurant management and cooking.
Now, who made that decision? Did you make that?
I made the decision. I went in. My MOS is not there. I should have brought those papers. Gave them. Showed you that. She's seen them.
So
My
what's
MOS and everything. It's gone
okay?
because what I was in with they didn't say it, but it was the Black Marine Corps.
Really?
Yes.
And how,
In 1960,
Okay.
who was the president?
you're asking the wrong person.
Kennedy.
Kennedy, okay.
All right.
Yep,
Desegregation. He was very strong on that. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to recruit white people into
and to
Stuart Cook.
segregate.
Yes, and they did. They put out the school, and you look at the school and say, wow. You know, motel management, all that's all in there, and how to cook,
Yep,
and
yep.
they gave the big variety of that
Yep.
stuff, which was, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds good. But after I got in there for a while, then I realized,
What was going on?
what was going on. They had, especially on ships, stewards. Mm-hmm. They never even did any basic training. They just signed them up to Filipinos.
Oh, wow.
Then they had black people from Africa. Mm-hmm. And they came in. They never, you know what I mean? Then
They hadn't gone
learned
through all the training?
They learned a little. They didn't have to train or nothing. So.
Wow. So what was your training like in the restaurant?
It's like a school. It's basically school. You go in, you go through the bacon school part of it. That's in one section. Cooking the meats is in another section. Boning. In other words, you have to bone the
Doing the
meats.
butchering?
Yeah,
Yep.
the butchering. All that's
Yep.
done there. Yeah.
Huh.
And
Now,
then-
was this an interest that you had when you were younger, or
Yes, I did some of that.
you cooked at home?
No. Place called the Lord Fox. That's
What's
where
that?
It's a restaurant. It's right up the street. It's not there no more.
Uh-huh.
In fact, the Patriots, they bought all that,
Mm-hmm.
and that Lord Fox went. The place across the street is still there,
Oh.
but they're real fancy restaurants. I was in there, I was a dishwasher, and
So you had worked in a restaurant
yeah, well,
environment.
I worked there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
when
worked
you
for-
were what, 14? How old were you then?
Oh no, I was 16 when I did all this.
So that was before.
And then I also busboyed,
Oh,
but they
okay.
kept throwing me off, firing me. The reason for it, you got to be after 10 o'clock at nighttime. You got to be 18 years old.
Yes.
All right, I'm out there. The waitresses. I was 16 years old, and the tips I was making maybe a little over $200 a week.
Holy moly.
And this is 1959.
Yeah.
So I get fired, I come back with a different name.
But the same
They were
face.
They were hurting,
and no-
they were hurting for help. But somebody would catch up. Hey, that guy's too young.
All right. So that's where your interest in restaurant business came.
Right.
Okay.
And that's where I got introduced to microwave ovens. Microwave ovens were in a household item then.
But you got them at this restaurant and brought them
They
home?
they had microwave. What they did was they put out. They might have 1,000 people in the restaurant, so
Yep.
they're putting them all together. They can't get them all. They'll zap them in these, and that's where I learned. I said, "Ooh,
Comes in handy,
it
huh?
comes in handy."
Yeah.
You don't. They're not in households. They're not in restaurants. This restaurant had
Wow.
on top of everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Were there microwave ovens in the restaurant school in the Marine camp?
No.
No. That was a luxury of a private
You're right.
restaurant.
Yeah, I even told them about it. And they said, "What?" I said, "Oh, you ought to see this." They get a plate all to, you know what I mean? They'd be
Yeah.
they make the plates
Yeah.
out, and if they didn't get them out, then someone says, "Hey, start zapping them."
Yeah.
15 seconds, boom, boom, boom.
And that was your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got
Well,
you.
that's one of them.
One of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's hard work working in a
I
restaurant.
did that, and we've gone back. Different times I was working on different washing dishes. They says you got to wash dishes, and it's a machine. It's a conveyor belt. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you spraying the stuff and just sending it through, and then at the other end, the guy's pulling it out and stacking it.
Yeah. So when you were learning in the Marines, the restaurant business, a lot of it was familiar to you then, or some of it?
Some of it was, but
Yeah.
some of it wasn't. But in other words, I wasn't out of place.
Yeah. When you're doing the school, are you also doing any other combat training at this time, or it's strictly?
No, once I got there,
Yeah.
I'm out of combat training.
Okay.
Now, another thing, I wasn't attached. I was attached then to the 2nd Marine Air Wing. That's it.
Okay.
I was attached to it.
All right.
I was in one subunit after another subunit. I was subunit, some unit. That means they were farming me out here and there. Well, we need help. You got to get down to Puerto Rico. And then they had the jets practicing down there. And we set up a tent. We've had to feed them coming in and out.
So you would actually go out and help on these little
all over.
missions or whatever.
I went around the world.
Really? Doing this?
Same thing.
Really?
The med cruises, all the way Africa, France, let's see, Portuguese, there, Spain, Mallorca, Spain. If you get a chance to take a trip, go to Mallorca, Spain.
Yeah.
That is really nice.
And how old were you then now at this point?
I was, let's see, I think I went at 17,
Mm-hmm.
and then I turned 18.
Wow. What an opportunity,
Yeah.
huh?
But I was going everywhere.
Yeah.
I had all different places. The only thing is, like, when I went to Vietnam, I was locked right in the name.
So how
with
did
the
that...
French quarters.
Yeah. So how did you... So you're in the school learning the restaurant business. Then you are kind of subbed out.
I'm learning BOQs.
BOQ.
Yeah, the BOQ. They got people where you sign up. So in other words, you go in there, you're the desk man.
Yeah.
So you go do that for a week. Maybe a month from now, you'll do it again.
Okay.
But if they needed you there.
So moving
I
around.
I didn't get much of that. Once I get out of school, basically I wasn't doing the stuff I was taught there. I was learning more in the field.
Okay.
We use gasoline burners
For what?
to cook. It's got 2 tanks.
Now, where was this that you used gasoline burners?
I didn't learn this in school. You had to learn it in the field.
So, okay.
All right, there's 2 tanks.
Yep.
You put some pressure in it, and you fire it up. And it lights up, and you can see it's a blue haze.
Yep.
And they are beautiful for cooking. It's like you got a stove in the field. It's about my arms are right here.
Yep.
It's about this size.
So a couple of feet.
You get maybe about 10 or 20 of them, and somebody's got to fill them up with the gas and stuff. Things they didn't tell you was, if it blows up, it's equivalent to 5 pounds of TNT.
Wow.
And if you see one that's going out of control, you kind of pull it to the side and make sure nobody gets near it.
Did you ever see one blow up?
No, I never saw them, but I've seen them.
Yeah.
They'd scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, I bet. Wow.
But that's something people don't realize. And it was gasoline. It's not fuel. This is gasoline, straight gasoline.
That you're burning to cook
You're
food.
burning to cook food. And in the field, like Puerto Rico has a base down there, and the reserves come in. They got to put some training all you Marine Corps pilots. They got to do like 2 months, and they come down to Puerto Rico. Well, they get overwhelmed there, so they got to have some help to help do and that's where I was always called in. I did it maybe 3 times down there.
Wow.
I was on the San Marcos, which picked me up in Norfolk, and it's called an LSD. It's a landing craft dock. It don't go into the docks like this. It backs up into the docks, and the thing drops down in the back. You get off the back of the ship.
Oh.
So it's different.
Yep.
The tanks, they put helicopters on it now, and they got a flight deck.
Yep.
And what they do is they pick them up with an elevator. They come up on the side, and then they move them onto the pad.
Yep.
And then they get everything ready, and then they fly off.
Wow. When you were traveling to all these places, did you cook food that was native to those areas, or did you cook?
No.
No.
You wanted that, you went in town and bought it.
So you always cook what type of meals then?
The basic stuff. You
Yeah.
got meatloaf, you got turkeys, you do the turkeys. You got some kind of a chicken meal twice a week. You've got meat meals that are twice a week. You got spaghetti and meatballs,
Who did all the,
beans and franks.
yeah, did you have to do any of that planning, or you were just processing
No,
it? No.
No, you have people that are higher. You
Yeah,
know,
that
you
would
got to
do it
remember,
all.
I was only, when I did the med cruise, I was only PFC. I was the lowest man on the totem pole.
PFC being,
Private first class.
okay.
And,
So tell me how you got to Vietnam then, what happened? So
all right, it started, all right, I did, the first one, I was stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina, that's the 2nd Marine Air Wing. And they shipped me off to Beaufort, South Carolina, which was next door to where I trained. In the
Okay.
all right?
Yep,
But it was an air base. And they had reserves coming in there. I went down there and I did 2 months. Then I came back, then I got sent back home, which was Cherry Point.
okay,
This is all in the 2nd Marine Air Wing. And I got there in a couple of friends, well, you know, the guys, I just met them not too long ago, and they says, yo, you're going on the med cruise with us. I said, how'd I get that? You got picked. So anyways, there's 3 of us.
yep,
And we went on the med cruise. And that was in the fall. And we went to, we left Norfolk.
yep,
The med cruise, that was 7-8 months. And with Greece, France. No, I'm thinking of all Italy. There's about 5 places in Italy. Then we went to there's a military base in Italy. It's up in the mountains. You fly up there, and then we set up, they had a kitchen up there, and we just cooked for the pilots. They were up there training, up there for a week, which was beautiful. And you come down, and then I got back to base. And they said, you're going to go on the U.S. Okinawa. They're doing a training. It's going to get commissioned. You got to do the training before the commission. The ship
okay,
has nothing to do with me, the ship. But they got helicopters, pilots. I got to help feed them,
yep,
take care of them.
Yep.
We also made beds and stuff like that. So we were on that. And we did... I'm going to say, every day we come out of Cuba. Gitmo, that's where the base, the ship was being stationed and sent out. And we go north and then come back every night.
wow,
And I was on, I think that was about 3 months. I got back. You know, I've been doing these small things there, so now I've gotten... I made Lance Corporal by the time, you know, when I was doing that, I was a Lance Corporal. And then I went back to training. We got out of the ship passed and everything. Then we all got sent home. So we went home. We flew home out of Cuba.
okay,
And I got there. I don't think I was back a week. And that's when the Cuban Crisis. Do you remember Cuban Crisis?
yeah,
All right. I was there on that ship.
wow,
They sent me and 4 more guys with me.
wow,
So we went on that ship, and we had to do the same thing I did. You know, take care of we had rooms and stuff like that.
yeah,
So I was helping in the kitchen where they feed them. That's where I was. And we did the Cuban Crisis, and I'm trying to think, that was maybe a month or a month and a half. And it was getting towards, let's say, December or somewhere around there. I get back to base, and they said, oh, you got to get down to, you got promoted. I said, what? Yeah, you're a corporal now. I'm E4, non-commissioned officer. And I did this all within 2 years. Usually it takes you about 4 years. to get
wow,
that.
wow,
So this is in 2 years. I gets back from there, and I got some papers here, and I said, well, you going to Iwakuni, Japan, which is the creme de creme of bases to go to overseas.
okay,
That's where you want to go.
yeah,
So I said, oh, great. So I went there, and I got there, and, you know, I saw, the stuff I saw was the Kintai Tower. I made it a point to go to Hiroshima and go through the museum and everything else. If you go through that machine, you'll know what an atomic bomb can do.
Yeah.
It's sickening.
Yeah. And how long were you there then?
I was there a little over a month.
Wow. What
It was
what
supposed
did
to
your
be-
days look
It was
like?
supposed to be a little over a year.
And it just
I was
lasted a month.
there a month.
Yeah.
It's, you got to go to the rifle range. He says, you know what? You haven't been on a rifle range in over 3 years.
Uh-oh.
I said, yeah, I know. You know what I mean? I didn't, you know, nobody told me you don't, in the Marine Corps, you don't tell people you didn't do this or something like that.
Yeah.
You let 'em- well, nobody told me to. So I had to go, I got on a ship, small boat, ship, well, it's a, and we went to an island. It was about maybe an hour. Went down off of Japan. And there's the rifle range. I went there. When not in boot camp, I shot sharpshooter. I was a sharpshooter.
Okay.
And now I haven't shot, this is an M14. I don't even know what the hell an M14 is. was trained on an M1.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So the guy showed the clips. He says, you got the clips here and everything. So I load up the clips and everything, and then you put it in. And he says, basically it's going to be the same. You only shoot single rounds and stuff like that. So I did exactly what it was. We went, you know, from, I think, 200 yards to 300 to 500 yards. You go in layers going up and you shoot. And I ended up with a sharpshooter. So I said, well, I guess I still should shoot. I never shot the thing. Never
Wow.
shot this rifle.
Wow.
So
You were a
I-
good shoot,
so-
I guess, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets back and he says, what's that? Oh, you got papers. You're going to Vietnam. I says, where is Vietnam? It's somewhere below China. I had to get a map. I says,
Really?
You're kidding me. Yeah. Guy was there and he said, oh, you're going to love it.
So you didn't know anything about
No,
Vietnam?
no,
Really?
no. This is 1963. And there's no fighting people. In other words, we got guns and everything.
Yeah.
In fact, when we got there, they take your gun. I never saw that rifle again.
Really? They took it?
They took it, put it in the locker. They probably gave it to the Vietnamese.
Really?
Yeah. I had weapons. I learned how to buy some weapons.
Yeah.
I always had a weapon.
Yeah.
There was a 38 under my bed. I had an M1 carbine given to me.
So you got to so then did you fly to Vietnam, or how did you get
Yes,
to?
you
Yeah.
flew there. And it was in May.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was dry. And the soil is it's like a red. And by the time you got to Da Nang, in the French quarters there, it's probably about half-hour ride and dusty. You had to go in and take a shower right then and there. You were so bad.
Yeah. So it was hot and dusty.
Hot, everything.
What did it smell like? Anything?
No, not really. No.
No.
It's just hot and you know I've never been here, so I don't know what's going on there. You learn fast though. You do learn fast.
And were you with a whole crew of people then moving? Yeah.
Where we were staying, this is where the subunits were. They were all subunits. Everything's a subunit. And we were in the French quarters. The French quarters had the mess hall. They had a captain's officer's mess on one end, and they had a big regular recruitment cafeteria for the regular general personnel.
Okay.
The officers had their own separate one. That one is the one I worked.
Okay.
So, and what we did was, it was like what we everywhere I went was, you worked. I say Monday afternoon you went into work. You worked Monday afternoon. You worked Tuesday morning the next day early.
Okay.
You worked it's Monday afternoon into night. So you work till 7:30.
Yep.
And then you go into the mess hall at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
When you got done at noon, you were done for a whole day.
Okay.
And when you come to the weekends, if, like on a Friday, if you work Friday morning, if it's Friday morning you're working, you don't come back until Monday afternoon.
Wow.
So you had some free time.
So,
But if you had to work Friday night until Sunday at noon. Monday at noon. And then that's when you change.
so did it alternate, like when you get a weekend?
They all alternate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had to work 48 hours straight over the weekend.
You don't. No, it's not. You're not working. The actual work is probably about 6 hours.
So you're just on call there, or?
No, 6 hours. Then you're done for that particular day. You're done. You go home. You can go drink.
Oh, okay.
But you had to be in there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So, what did you do for work while you were there then?
it had something to do with food. We were setting up. It's all food. That's what I did there, was strictly on food. The salads, we had to get salads ready and stuff like that. The mess hall made a lot of the stuff. We put it in pans. We also had an ice cream machine. That's where I learned how to make ice cream. And they said, Joe, you got any other flavors besides vanilla? And I says, give me a chance. I went and got some instant coffee
Oh,
and zapped it in there. I got that, and everyone's going haywire for this coffee ice cream. So then I started dancing around. Then the guys knew how I was doing it. They made some stuff there. They had vegetables and everything else in there. You couldn't believe what they were doing.
all in ice cream?
Huh?
All in ice cream?
All
Different
in
flavors?
Ice cream. Yeah, flavors were.
Did only the officers get the ice cream? Or
No,
did
everybody got it.
everybody got the
Everybody
ice
got
cream?
it, yeah.
It had to be a lot of ice cream then.
Oh, yeah.
How many people were you feeding?
Well, we made those, the big things, and then
Yeah,
we
yeah,
put
yeah.
in the freezers.
Yeah.
There was only, all right, there's 250 Marines, all in Vietnam, all of Vietnam. Now, we had maybe, I'm trying to get the words for it, support. You got pilots. Now, support means truck drivers, the cooks, medic,
Yep.
all them, everybody, paperwork pushers and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Those are support.
Yep.
The pilots are number one. That's who's there, the pilots.
Yeah.
And all we are is support for them.
them.
But roughly there was maybe about 200, and it varied. People taking R&R, so you might get down to 150 people there. It kicked in. I left there in '64, May of '64. I got home and I'm reading the paper, and the first time they bombed the airstrip.
Wow.
It was like the next day
After you had left.
after I left. Yeah.
And was that right near where you were then, or was that?
Well,
Yeah.
the airstrip, they were building that first when I got there.
Yeah.
But they got it built.
Yeah.
And then I says, I'm looking at the runway. The runway looked like about 10 miles long. And I said, hell, and you had the cement, like, if you're on the ground, you couldn't, it's like double this all the way up, and then the runway's up there. Everything was cement. I said, what the hell are they going to land there? Well, it took me a while. I got home and everything else. All right. The B-52s that are in Chicopee, that's who was landing there.
Oh,
They
they're
fly
so
all the
big.
way,
Yeah.
one way, boom, all the way over to get
Wow.
fueled up in the air and stay there.
Wow. Wow.
And then in 1966, that's when there was 100,000 Marines landed there.
Wow.
But they were slowly coming in and out. Green
So it was
Berets.
smaller while you were
Yes,
there.
the
Yeah.
Green Berets, there was some that come through there. There was one, Special Forces, Army Special Forces. He used to hit me up for hams. We got double rations. We had more food than God.
And why was that?
Because you're in a war zone, you get double. You're allowed double rats. We had
Okay.
the double rats.
All right.
Now you got half the people go on liberty. They don't even eat there. They'll eat in town. So you got food coming out your ears.
So what did you do with it?
Oh well, when he came, he used to come. He'd come in the barracks there, sneak up on me, grab me, and he said, "Come on, I need some hams." I used to give him hams.
And what was he doing with them? Do you know?
He's going up to the mountain yards. He's in the jungle,
Yeah.
but he's on top. In other words, you have to be in Vietnam and see the mountains. It's so beautiful. They'd make camps all out there. Mm-hmm. That's where he'd be. Mm-hmm. But he'd come in probably about every 2 weeks, hit me up for some hams. He says, "This is what keeps going." He gave me the guns.
So it was kind of a
crossbows.
trading. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He
Yeah.
says, "Hey, take this."
Yeah.
And he says, "You got to make your own arrows
Yep.
for the crossbow." And I says, "What?" He says, "The only thing out there is poison." I said, "No, I don't want no poison darts here."
Yeah.
And the dart was only about that big.
Wow.
I put it, my feet, hold it down, and then it's bark. It's woven bark. They don't have like you have here with our bow and arrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is bark that's woven, and that's what it's done. 2 hands, and I pick it up and I cock it like that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I took a lot,
Yeah.
and I get it cocked. The mountain yards, I used to watch them, and they just got in the hand. Well,
With one hand.
one hand. To boom.
Wow.
They were so used to it. But they fish with it. They fish with them.
Yeah.
You know, the food. That's what they. But they also hunt people too.
Yeah. So what did you do with your off time when you were there? When you weren't in the kitchen?
I used to go to China Beach, which is the most beautiful beach you ever saw. The only thing, after a while, you got to take a break, because every day you're down there, you're giving CPR to the kids. They're trying to get in there. The undertow was bad, and you know, there'd be 3 of them lined up there, and they says, "Hey, jump on one of them, go on," and stuff like that. But after
Really?
a while, after a while, you kind of avoid it. You picked your times when you went there,
Yep.
because you knew you were going to do that.
Did you have a lot of contact with people that lived in the area, the Vietnamese?
Probably have more contact with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really. The bars that you went into, you had contact with them. And, but it wasn't like, I don't think, at the time, I don't think we were really liked there. And we didn't really bond in too much with them, you know what I mean? Until, the longer I got there, the better I liked it.
Yeah.
I got more friendly with the people.
Now, did you ever did you get breaks from your duty there while you were there?
Yeah, you go on, leave. You take leave. Yeah.
And did you travel anywhere when you were on leave?
I either went to Okinawa or I went to Japan.
Yeah.
Some of them went into Hong Kong. They go to Hong Kong. Some went south.
But you always went to Japan.
Japan, I went a couple times. And the rest of the time, I just went to Okinawa. I liked it, Okinawa. I liked it there. And it was cheap.
Yeah.
Actually, Okinawa is, it's like going to Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more Americans there.
Yeah.
It's just loaded with Americans.
Yeah.
Dependents, they were all there, women, everything.
So the Marines that you were feeding, did they change?
Pilots.
The pilots. Did they change a lot, the people that you would see coming through, or was it often the same people?
Yeah, 2 squadrons. When I first got there, it was 1 squadron, and then they did their time, and then they got out and another squadron came in. I think they did like 6 months, 7 months, and then they'd switch.
Did they share a lot of stories about what they were doing or seeing, or no?
Not really. You didn't, I knew what they were doing. See, this is another thing now. See, she had the magazine. Well, you tell her you want to see that magazine. Let her show it to her. All right, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I like flying in the helicopters. Now, I fed and bed these pilots. And I had carte blanche. When are you going up? I'm going up tomorrow. You want to come up? Yeah. So be down the airstrip at 9, be at the airstrip at 10. You know, I pick days that I'm off. And I go up and fly. I might fly down China Beach, which is beautiful. I might go up, deliver mail up into the mountains. The only ones on the helicopter, 2 pilots above, the crew chief sitting at the door that's open. If she shows you, you'll see the door's open.
Yep.
On the other side of the helicopter is a window, and that's where I sat. That's
Okay.
riding shotgun. And I did this, maybe 4 or 5 months. I picked days, and I'd go up, and it was beautiful. And on the last day, I went up. This is the last time I went up. And these guys were the ones that I always went up with. And I didn't even take a weapon. Usually, sometimes I'll take a weapon with me. I didn't take a weapon. I don't know why. And the XO, he comes up and he says, "You going up?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "You need a weapon where you're going." I said, "What?" Now I got a little scared.
Yeah.
So he threw me a 38 belt thing, and he said, "Get that on." So I said, "All right." So we went up. And I'm trying to, I came in, your map here, right? All right. Da Nang's here, and I'm looking, Laos is right, if you're going east, you can see Laos is right there, and it's all mountains. That's where I went that day. I never knew.
Really?
Well, I'll explain why.
Yeah.
But we're up there, and it was a long ride.
Yep.
All right, we get up there. There's 2 helicopters. We're the support helicopter. That means we stay up top and keep an eye out for everything. That's what I did was I keep looking out the window there, and I'd be looking for flashes. And then I'm looking. You can see the camp. They're in a mountain camp. Now they're on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
They're in a mountain camp. And I'm looking there, and they got, I think it was 3 of them. They had them hog-collared. That means they had strapped with a log right in the back like that.
Wow.
I said, "Whoa, what are they doing with these guys?" Threw them on the plane, and then we took off. And going back, that helicopter went one way, and we went another way. We went straight back to Da Nang. And I always question. I said, well, I was going to want to know where we went. And I said, it was a long ride. So but those guys were busy, so I didn't want to bother them. But I said, I'll catch up with them. Exactly 2 weeks later, that book she's got 2 helicopters up. They were the first helicopters shot down.
Wow.
One of those helicopters was the helicopter I was on.
Wow.
Now, that ain't the part of it that really gets you.
Yeah.
All right. The crew chief and the 2 pilots, they were killed. And there was a corpsman who I was with that night. We went into the club and everything. He said, "Come on, Manny." I says, "Let's go have a beer." I said, "Yeah, we'll have a beer." So I said, "Let me buy him." All right. And he took 1 sip. I just took a sip. The guy comes running in. "Manny, you got to go. They got an emergency. There's a plane down." And I says, "All right." So Manny looks at me. He goes, I don't know if he was kidding or what, but he says, "You want to go?" And I said, "I got to work tomorrow morning. I just got off duty. This is 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I just got off duty."
Yeah.
I said, I said, "No, I get up at 3 in the morning." I says, "Nah, I'm just having a few beers and I'm going to bed."
Yeah.
He said, "All right." He took off. So I don't know if he was joking with me or what, but he asked me.
Yeah.
They got shot down. She's got the book and shows you.
That was the one that got shot down.
They got shot down.
Wow.
The next day I found out about it.
Wow. So
That was
that
the
could have
last-
been you.
That was the last day I flew.
Wow.
I never flew again. Just in planes going home or cross country.
Now, did you hear about them getting shot down? You knew it was...
First thing in the morning, they said, who got shot down? Then he's telling me. And then Manny was up there.
Wow.
And the two part, I said, oh my God, and the crew chief.
Wow.
And the other helicopter got shut down. They were all killed.
And that other ride you went on where you said they picked up those guys that were strapped.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You have no idea what that was about?
No idea.
But just the plane went in another direction and you guys went back to
we took
Denali.
off, we followed them, and then they went somewhere. They were going to...
Wow.
There was Vietnamese on that plane, too.
Yeah. Wow.
On mine was just, all we're doing was support on him.
Yep.
So I don't know. But I'm looking, I looked at a map before. This one here really shows it good.
Yeah.
And it's Laos.
Yeah.
I thought it might have been Cambodia, but no, it's Laos. We went one way straight in.
So after your friend Manny was shot down, you decided never to fly again
I
then?
couldn't. No.
You didn't?
And I kind of went down.
Yeah.
I took it bad for a while.
Yeah.
But now, I'm talking.
Yeah.
It's over. I can't bring them back. They're not going to help me, so I got to do it all myself. So.
Yeah.
But like I said, I opened up maybe about 15 years ago. I started talking.
Yeah.
But my wife never heard anything about Vietnam with me.
Wow. So how old were you? So was it not long after that?
How old was I?
You're so young. So you were in Vietnam 63 and 64, you said, right? And then
I got there.
Came home.
I'm going to show you a picture. She's got a picture too. Right. Hang on.
But how old were you when you got home then?
I got out of the Marine Corps the first time, 20 years old.
20, I know, you were so young.
Yeah. Well, I got an early discharge too because I was there. Oh, that's not what I want. Get back here.
So 20 years old, and was it just because your tour was up? Was that why you came home?
My time, yeah.
Yeah.
That time was up.
Yeah.
But I still had 2 more years. It's a 6-year thing that you're actually committed to.
Really?
You do 4 active. Usually that gets you out.
Okay.
I get called back.
And then did you go back?
Because I was an NCO, and I was a field cook. And guess where they needed field cooks?
Where?
Vietnam.
Oh my! So you went
I
back?
didn't know. I went back, and I was cooking for the general. Well, the general was like 10 or 15, but the writing was on the wall. My MOS, they're getting rid of them, they're making civilians our job. It was going to be civilians.
Yep.
So in other words, I'd probably end up, if I was going to stay cooking, I'd cook in a regular mess hall.
Now, what year was that when you went back?
I didn't go to, when I got 65.
65, you went back.
65. I did it a year and a half till 66.
Wow.
And then
and were you
the
in Da
sergeant
Nang
major
again then?
No. I'm in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Oh, all right.
I was for the
So you didn't go
general's
back to Vietnam?
No, I didn't go back to Vietnam.
No.
But I asked him, he says, you either got to ship over or you got to get out of the Marine Corps today. He says, your time is up. It's been up for over a week.
Wow.
I says, I didn't know that.
No one told you?
No, I didn't pay attention to it. I was enjoying myself. So anyways, I says, I got to ship. I says, tell me something. I ship over. If I ship over, where will I go? And he says, you'll be going back this time.
Yeah.
I says, all right, I'll take my walking papers and go.
So now you're like 22, right? When you finally left the Marines.
All right.
Yeah.
I was about, 22 going on 23, I think it was, yeah.
So did you move back to the Boston area then, to Roxbury?
No.
Or where'd you
I grew
go?
up in Foxborough.
In Foxborough?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was that like coming home from Vietnam, though, the first time?
The first time?
Yeah.
I didn't talk. The only place I would go was like a VFW or a thing, really. Because they were baby killers. The guy was Kylie. He was a major or captain.
Yeah.
His group, they get caught. They were killing kids, everything. So,
But did anyone talk to you about it or ask you about it or no?
No, they just tell you. Oh, you're one of those baby killers from Vietnam.
Wow. How'd you feel about that?
I didn't. So I didn't tell anybody. He kind of kept quiet.
Oh.
Nobody, after a while, nobody knew.
What do you got?
That's 19 years old, May of 1963.
You're a handsome fella there, I tell you. Not that you're not handsome right now.
All right,
Wow.
that's when I got to Vietnam. I was a teenager.
You were.
That's why I took this picture.
Wow.
But that's what I looked like then.
Wow.
And when I got back, you get older. Another thing, too, I grew.
Well,
I stopped growing at 24.
Yeah.
I grew 2 more inches.
That wasn't a tip-off to them, huh? That maybe you were younger than your age?
But I said, see, I'll show you that. She's got a picture of it. Naturally, as soon as she saw it, she had to make a picture.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything she does.
Yep.
Then about the Black Marine Corps, she wrote that up, and I said, at first, I didn't want her to do. I said, nah, let it go. There is no, my MOS is not there.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah. It's not there. It's 3611. It's not there.
Wow.
And that's a Stuart Cook.
So you came back from Vietnam. You didn't let anybody know you'd been there. And then you
I
went.
didn't talk about
You
it.
didn't talk about it.
No, I didn't talk. There was certain people I let know. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there. Well, you belong to the VFW. How'd you get there? Well, I was in Vietnam. They want to know, how did you
Yeah,
join the VFW? That's Veteran of Foreign War.
Yeah.
The Legion, when I joined this Legion, I got over 50 years here. I was the first Vietnam vet in this Legion.
Really?
The first one, because they weren't accepting Vietnam. It wasn't even mentioned. So the guy that was Tommy Mullins, he says, I got a call, and they says, no, you can come in. You can come in.
Wow.
So I joined. So I'm the first Vietnam veteran in this building. And I'm a past commander.
Wow.
But
So
that's where I basically, after a while, like I said, it might have been 35 years, and then I start talking about it. You meet people, at Afghanistan and stuff like that, and I said, yeah.
yeah.
And I said, what'd you shoot? These guys were talking about, we're told, like, if there's a donkey or a mule out there, don't trust it, shoot it.
Really? Wow.
In the villages.
Huh.
I said, you kidding me? And what they were shooting is
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
I couldn't, the weapons, I said, you gotta be kidding me. In fact, I knew people that, the sons of, I can't think of him, the one in Afghanistan. They went in, the SEALs went in and got him, and they killed him. Well, his sons were there, and this guy he says, you can't believe, they threw the guy out of this place. It's a real expensive place up there. He says, I was one of them. I don't know. We threw so much up there, nothing could live. Threw so many, they shot everything.
Wow.
And
So you wrote in your questionnaire when you came back, you were wild. What does that mean?
yeah,
I mean, you were young still, clearly.
it was wild.
What did you end up doing when you finally left the Marines?
I started working construction, I think, and I got out here 67. I got here just after 67. And I was living in the Hot Al Warren in South Deerfield, the hotel. $10 a week.
Wow.
But I was working construction all over. I was New Hampshire and everything else. I was making decent money. And a friend of mine, he was in the VFW up there. He was a plumber, him and his brother. And finally he says, hey, we got to show you some. We're going to take you out. You're going to introduce you to this girl. She's working at the lamplighter. She's a waitress there. It's all right. They introduced me, and that was it. She worked at UMass. She was the chancellor's correspondence secretary. So she had a decent job, but she did that. So I met her and it'll be 50 years
Congratulations.
in February.
You settled down, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you.
My sisters even told her, he ain't gonna stay married to you more than a year. Now
No.
here's the kicker.
Yeah, what?
I had 5 sisters and a brother, and my parents. My parents were divorced after 50. My brother was divorced, and my 5 sisters all divorced and remarried.
And you're the one that's
I'm
going
the
on your
only one.
50th year.
Yeah, I'm the only one left.
Congratulations. So here's my question. Do you cook at home? Did you cook
Yeah.
for your
I-
wife?
Well,
Do you still do the cooking?
well, now I'm doing more than that. She's not getting around good, so
Yeah.
I got to do a lot more than that. I clean the house, everything.
Did you ever go back into the restaurant business at all, or no?
Oh yeah, I owned a bar and restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right here in Hatfield, yeah.
So you used the training that you had.
But I said no. That's where you get drink a lot. I was drinking a lot,
Yeah,
drinking a little too much,
yeah.
and so I basically bailed out of that. I bartended a few times, but I even got away from that. I said I don't want no part of that.
Yeah. So do you have any advice that you would give veterans or anything you'd like to add about the Vietnam War?
Vietnam, at the time I was there, it was ugly. What was going on was very ugly. There was no war. It was they were shooting at each other, but it wasn't a war. It didn't really kick in until '65. Also, you had them and Madame New. The Catholics and the Buddhists and the Catholics aren't getting along there. That's part you don't see. Eisenhower, Ho Chi Minh tried to get Eisenhower. He says, give Vietnam, because the French were in there. He wanted the French out.
Yeah.
And Ho Chi Minh, was, and Eisenhower's not leaving the French in there. That was the number one. And that's why he, more or less that way. He wasn't a communist, even though the communists got with, they undermined him.
Yep.
But he was the voice.
Yep.
That's what they need. After they got what they wanted, he was like put in the back corner somewhere. But he wasn't a bad person. He wanted the country for Vietnamese people. These people had other ideas, and that's the war. It just started. All right, now I told them and Madame New, they were Catholics when I first got there. And they didn't get along. The Buddhists did not like them and stuff like, well, they wouldn't do nothing. That's when they started burning themselves in the streets. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. You see one, you just kind of walk away. If you knew somebody was burning there, you just went the other way.
Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah. Once, like I said, once.
And then you
It
walk the other
happened,
way.
You start walking the other way. You could smell it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you just walk the other way. And then eventually it settled down, and because he was assassinated, his wife took off, and then I went through the overthrows of the government. They overthrew it like 5 times. Now I'm laying in the ditch outside the barracks, all of us. We didn't know who we were fighting.
Really?
I asked a warrant officer, and I think he was a World War I vet. And I says, what do we do? I says, you just gave me 100 rounds, and I got 15 guys that are under me. I'm splitting it. He says, split it up. He says, tell them guys, don't shoot it unless you got a dead hit.
Yeah.
Don't waste it.
Yep.
But he says, start running to the airstrip and get on the first plane out of town.
Wow.
This isn't looking good, he said.
Wow.
And he knew.
And he knew. Yep.
But Vietnam, the people, they are very handy. They're very smart. Now, I don't know where it is now. It might be up in my attic, or my mother threw it out. Beer cans. They took beer cans and they cleaned them up and pressed them. So it's like a piece. And they made footlockers out of them.
Really?
$10. And someone says, where did you get that? get that. You know, when I brought it back, they said, yeah, it's full. You got to be kidding me. Well built.
Mm-hmm.
They're very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Shoes. They'd take a print and you get shoes in a minute.
Yeah.
They make shoes for you right there, right on the spot.
Did you bring many things back from
There
Vietnam?
was stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But stuff I brought, I had a Sony, this was a ton of stuff I had. But it's all gone.
Yeah.
My mother and father got divorced.
Yep.
And then my mother was living in the house, and then she says somebody offered, they said, get out of the house then. And the last time I was back in Foxborough talking, my buddy, I don't know, he died, and I said, oh my God. He was like a few years older than me. And they said, oh, don't go down and look at the house. I says, why? He says, it's not there. They tore it down. It was like 5 or 6 acres of land my father had, you know, and, and he says there's probably about 3 or 4 houses up there in the back of that land.
Wow.
So that's what they did.
Wow.
But all the stuff, you know, that I, you know, in Vietnam, you know, the pictures and all that stuff is gone.
Yeah. That's got to be hard.
And the weapons, like the carbine, I had a .38 hammerless, nickel-plated Smith & Wesson. See that sign there? Mm-hmm. I could look at it,
Yep.
and I would not hit it with this .38. It was that bad. Honest to God. It was a showpiece. It came in a wrap. The guy says, hey, you know, in Vietnam, he says, hey, you want to buy a .38? I said, yeah, how much? He said, how about $10? He said, show me. I said, $10. I said, I gotta have that.
Yeah.
Never used it. I shot it twice, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful. It was nickel plated, and it was hammerless. There was no hammer on it. It was hammerless.
Were there a lot of people selling things like that in Vietnam?
They sell everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the most interesting thing that you bought?
Not really. You know, what you're looking for, you know, the crossbow, I didn't buy that. That's a lot of
That
stuff
was given to you.
Stuff was given to me.
Yeah.
Stuff that, now, if I wanted to sell a crossbow, I could probably have sold it.
Yeah.
How much would you get for it? Maybe $10. You look at it in this country, if you saw the workmanship in that, it'd be worth maybe about $200 or $300.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, it was tree wood. You take a piece of wood, and you know you take a piece and you pull it off like that.
Yeah.
And these mountain yards, that's what they did. And they just do that. That's all they had to do. And then they rolled it, tightened it right up, and that's what made the thing. Like I said, it took 2 hands between my legs here and stuff to pull it up to cock it.
Did you ever meet any of these mountain yards or no?
They come in now and then, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of them didn't speak much. You know? But where I saw them is I'd see them here, but I didn't talk to them or nothing. You know. You know, on a helicopter, we'd make a landing, they'd give them mail out. You know, bringing the mail there, and they'd be standing there on the side. And they didn't like Vietnamese.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's like American Indians. They didn't like the white man.
Yeah.
So
So do you anything today to remember Vietnam or to carry on the thoughts of your service, or how?
not real. The only one is like what I told you, that
Yeah.
the plane. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And that's why he asked her that. You know, I want to get that magazine back again.
So yeah.
But that there's 2 helicopters in the water, and I showed her, and I said, and it wasn't dawning on me, I was in that helicopter,
Yeah. Wow.
and I could have been in it,
Yeah.
you know, if I took them up on the offer,
Yep.
because I could have got on.
Yeah.
I had carte blanche when it come to flying.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what, you know, everybody says, what do you get down there? I says, yeah, well, I feed and bed these guys. They do like me. So.
Did you get other special opportunities because you were feeding and bedding these guys, or no?
No, I'd get a bottle of booze or something.
Yeah.
But really, no, I'd get more information if I wanted to know something.
Yeah.
And stuff, you wanted something in Hong Kong, you had a plane that went up there once a week,
Yep.
and all he did was shop for everybody. He'd give you the price. He was like give you the price. That's how much you're going to pay for that. My Sony tape, it cost me, what, $90. They
Yeah.
were selling them in the United States for, what, $230, $290, depending on which size you got.
Wow.
So,
So, wow. Is there anything else you want to tell me about, or?
no, but I did get that off my chest. That one thing, about the plane. I said I would average probably once a week, at least once a week,
Yeah.
go up for a ride.
Wow.
That went.
Well, clearly
Yeah.
there
And
was someone watching
kinda-
out for
yeah,
you, or
yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's in the Mediterranean too. I overloaded the helicopter with kitchen supplies.
Yeah.
There was 2 pilots and the crew chief. He was at the door, and I was sitting, like I said, he's sitting there, but he's looking out the door, and he's turned around. That's where he's sitting. Now I'm sitting here in the seat. And the plane, it's shaking, off thing, it's
Yeah.
rumbling and everything else.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we draw, and I'm looking out the door, and I'm seeing the water splash off the wheels. I says, oh, we're going in. I get up, and the crew chief looked, get down, get down. So I got back, he's yelling, screaming,
Yeah,
get
yeah,
back. Then
yeah.
he's in there, he's looking like this, get back. And then we got going up and everything else, and then he said, you don't go out that door until they crash. What they do is, if he isn't going to make it, he's going to flip it on its side. The props are on this side.
Yep.
You're on this side. You can go right up out the
Oh,
door.
I see. Yep.
And the props ain't going to hit you.
Did that happen or not?
No.
No.
But
You made it.
That's like, you going to make it?
Yeah.
I made it.
Yeah.
I'm walking from the mess hall to the barracks.
Yeah.
And they just put in a handball court. They built it, they play handball in so you'd hear whack, whack and stuff like that. I'm walking by it, and this guy's yelling at me, Joe, did you hear that bang? I said, somebody's playing handball. He says, no, that was a bullet that just went over your head, hit the court. He says, what, they were doing training with rifles on there, the Vietnamese. The guy had a round in there, and he shot. But he didn't intentionally shoot. He had the round in there, and it went off. I heard the bang.
Yeah.
I said, you shitting me? He said, no. So there's times where, I'm looking
Yeah.
at how many times do you go up there?
Yeah. Tempting fate.
And then on a ship, we made, they don't do it no more. But where they throw the ropes over and you crawl, you go down making a
Yep.
landing.
Yep.
I slipped and fell. I went upside down, and the water was rough. And the boat's coming up. It's about ready to hit me. I got my arm, and a guy above me grabbed my arm and pulled me right up there, and the boat come up.
Wow.
It just missed me by that much.
Wow.
And I was upside down.
So you did have a lot of lucky calls,
I
huh?
had a lot of lucky calls.
Yeah. Do those haunt you sometimes?
I took the whole thing good about it was I was young,
Yep.
and I wrote it out. But after a while, then I started thinking about, wow, I got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the helicopter, that one, that knocked me down big time.
Yeah. Wow.
In fact, you people are the only ones I told. You're the only one. that
Really?
knows that, yeah.
Well, now other people are
And well,
going to
the
know.
thing is why I says, you're going to talk, and I says, well, now I've got it out of my system. I'm talking, stuff that happened. Like the Buddhist monk, people don't realize that. You go see a guy burn himself.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
No.
And then, you know what I mean, when they bring in the bags in, you start seeing bags come off a helicopter, there ain't nobody living in that bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes they ask you, come on, give us a hand.
Did you have to help with things like that?
Once in a while, they
Yeah.
had some, a lot of them were Viet Cong.
Yeah.
They just wanted to get them up and buried.
Yeah.
And the whatchamacallit, the kids on the beach there, you know, I love the China Beach. If you ask any about China Beach, it's one of the most, has an undertow in it, big time. So if you're not a good swimmer, play it safe and stay back. The kids love to get in there, and they're what, anywhere from 7 to about 13. They know we had candy bars and everything else, always, because we used to give it to them. So they come down there. But it seemed like the last 4 or 5 times I was down there, mouth to mouth, back and forth, they were just
Yeah.
lined up, yeah.
And you said no more?
I said, nah, well, I picked times. I got down there one more time before I left.
Yeah.
It was a good day that I went down. There wasn't too much action going on.
Yeah.
But to give, you know, you see it all the time. And I says, there was an American guy there. I asked the doc, I says, is he gonna make it? He's brain dead.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Wow.
he said, vegetable, they're gonna send back home. That's it.
Wow.
But the kids, a lot of them didn't make it.
Really?
No. Had a few, but most of the time they were gone. They were either brain dead or,
Wow.
because there wasn't a lot of people, you know. You see something floating out there, oh shit, it's a kid out there. So,
Oh, my gosh.
Well, did
Wow.
you enjoy yourself or what?
I did. Well, thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you talking with me. You've got a lot of stories to tell, and I'm really happy that you
No.
shared them with me
Well,
today.
you're the first one I really let out, but I did want to get some stuff out, you know. And I don't feel better. I just feel like I can talk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It happened.
Yeah.
I was there.
Well, it's good.
I did see
think
it,
it's
so,
important to acknowledge it, and I really appreciate it, and I know
Yeah.
other people will too.
No.
So thank you very much.
No problem.